So after Shelley and I finished up at the glass sand beach, we loaded back up into the car and headed south on California 1 to Point Arena. So the lighthouse that exists today at Point Arena is not the original lighthouse. The original lighthouse was built in 1870, and due to being structurally deficient after an earthquake back in 1906, that lighthouse and keeper's house had to come down. The Lighthouse Commission at the time needed a lighthouse still there, and they contracted a company out of San Francisco that was building structurally sound or to earthquake code smokestacks in San Francisco. That is why this lighthouse looks so much more like a smokestack than it does a traditional lighthouse. But, you know, it survived quite a few other quakes since that time. The lighthouse is about 3 miles off of California 1, so you do a little bit of a backtrack to get out to where it is. It is on a point, hence the name, and there are several photographic opportunities along the lighthouse road out to the lighthouse. The one that I found most appeasing was closer to the lighthouse itself, where I could get some foreground in. Also, keep in mind, this lighthouse is actually a form of bed and breakfast. It does offer lodging opportunities. I'll leave a link down in the description below so that you can go check that out, just in case you want to do a lighthouse tour and hang out at a lighthouse for a while, which does sound like a cool thing. And if I would have known, here again, we would have stayed at this lighthouse, but we didn't. For my first composition in the Point Arena Lighthouse, I did the traditional landscape shot. I felt this was lacking because of the lack of atmosphere in the sky. There wasn't much going on in the clouds, and the fact that I could not get enough foreground with the sea and the rocks below the cliff I was shooting from in the frame. For the second composition that day, I rotated my camera into what is traditionally known as portrait mode. Yep. And this got me all that gorgeous rock in the foreground, down at the base of the cliff that I was shooting from, and the lighthouse. It also lessened the effect of that bluebird sky with very little going on in it. Thanks for joining us as we journeyed down the Pacific coast from Seattle to San Francisco. We had a lot of fun with this little side jaunt at the Point Arena Lighthouse. And while it was short, we did come away with two compositions. One I really love. That's the one with the seascape in the foreground with the rocks visible below the cliff that I was on. Next time, we'll be headed down California 1 to Point Reyes. If you haven't yet done so, please hit the subscribe button and ding that bell for future notifications when I release a video. And if you like this episode, please give me a thumbs up. And if you got any comments, leave them below. We'll see you next time in Point Reyes.